Morning, trade pros. Welcome to our morning market update for Friday, April 6th of 2018. It's Friday. Um, we made it through the week. We got a lot to talk about today. Non-farm payrolls and the report that came out. Some more trade wars with China and the U.S. because it's another day, another development. And some things to watch for this afternoon in terms of news. Say hi, Victorio. Here's Victorio. He's wearing his computer glasses. They're very trendy. You got to get me a pair. It's also snowing in Canada, in Toronto, Ontario. I don't know if you could see it. But there's snow coming out the windows, and just this time last week, I was heading home from a place that was 20 degrees, sunny and beautiful. Anywho, let's get right into it. In Asia today, Japan's down 0.36%, Hong Kong's up 1.11%, China's closed today again for holiday, and India's up 0.05%. So mixed markets in Asia, not really a predominant or kind of a trend intact, just across the board. In Europe, however, it starts to pick up. At midday, London's down 0.13%, Paris is down 0.53%, and Frankfurt's down 0.54%. So European equities down about a half percentage point. In the United States, futures here in the morning, Dow Jones is down 0.79%, S&P's down 0.73%, Nasdaq's down 0.82%, and crude is down 0.33%. Here's why equity markets dropped. So Donald Trump last night decided to announce after the closing bell that he was considering getting the UTSR to apply tariffs on 100 other products. All right. And that kind of caught the market off guard because in the days leading up to that, he was saying, we're going to come to agreement. Larry Kudlow was kind of talking down this notion of trade war. Like, it's just an idea. It's not going to happen for 2 months. It's not official yet. Calm down, Mr. Market. And then Trump just waited for another rally to announce his $100 billion tariffs. Let me reword that. I'm having a hard time talking on a Friday morning. I'm just ready to drink. It's going to be tariffs on $100 billion worth of goods. All right. And that's why markets are down. They kind of opened lower and they've held some of that momentum overnight. And today we had a pretty big miss in terms of numbers. We'll talk about that in a moment. Crude oil is down about 1/3 of a percentage point. Gold is pretty much flat. Bitcoin down another 3.8% and going down at currently 65.76. I told you guys Bitcoin's coming down to 6,000. I had a support zone. You watched some of the videos a few months ago. I said, look, don't get spooked out, but they come all the way down to 6,000. And then I said, also, if that does happen, then you know what? It's still an uptrend, frankly, because that's just a pullback to the level that we need to get down to support. We need to shake out some of these late long buyers in Bitcoins. So we're doing that. Treasury 10 yield is down 1.3 basis points. The Treasury prices, the yields are lower, prices are higher. And today's economic calendar, we had a pretty big release this morning at 8:30. I got a chance. I was in the office a little bit earlier. I got a chance to trade it. It was the non-farm payrolls report. These are the private jobs numbers in the United States for the month of March that were added. We were expecting 188,000 jobs, and we came out at 103,000. 103. That's a huge miss. That's a big miss in the employment number. And the market initially rallied, but in the trading room, I had told the traders short rallies. If you find a rally, short it. And that's what we did. That's what I did particularly. And I get to start the day being a little bit up. So that's kind of what you need to watch for, these kind of dynamics. And we missed huge. We missed pretty big. I guess the one saving grace for the market, because if you look at it now, you're saying, well, why isn't it through the lows and trading lower? And the answer to that is the back month was revised higher, which means that February's employment statistics, which were previously announced at 313,000, were bumped up to 326,000. So that's a 13,000 increase on the back month. But even if you take that back month revision of 13,000 and add it to the miss, we're still at only 116,000 versus expected of 188. So that's a very bearish economic number that just came out today in terms of number of jobs added. Here's where it gets interesting, though. Unemployment rate has also gone up. So that's gone up from 4% to 4.1%, which actually it hasn't gone up. It came in at 4.1%, which is the same as the previous month, but they were expecting it to drop down to 4.0. So the expectation was for a lower number. It came out where it was last month. So that's slightly bearish. It's not news, but it missed expectation. And the one area that was a saving grace is the average hourly earnings. They were up to 0.3% versus 0.1% prior, as expected. So all in all, a pretty bearish report. Not massively bearish, but it's a huge miss. But the other two components of it sort of save the day a little bit, if you will. All right, that's your non-farm payrolls review. Based on this, you should see some weakness in equities and weakness in the dollar as well. And gold should be rallying up on that. Is it, Vic? Is gold moving up? Yeah, gold's ripping. There you go. What about the dollar? Do you know? Okay. Well, anywho, point is the safe haven assets are going up. Like the yen is probably up as well. Gold is up. The dollar should be down, while equities are down as well. All right. So expect to see that play through the rest of the day. At 1 p.m. today, we got the Baker Hughes rig count. That's going to be the measure of how much oil is produced and output in the United States. Stay tuned for that. That's going to have massive impact on oil. That's about 1 hour before the close, hour and a half before the close of the pit session in the oil futures. So that's at 1 p.m. And at 1:30, we have Jerome Powell speaking. He's delivering a speech on the economic outlook at the Economic Club of Chicago. How come I don't get invited to these economic clubs? I'm going to have to talk to somebody about that. You could listen to it live. There's actually a link that I could put in the description if you guys would like. Powell said a few weeks ago that he saw moderate vulnerabilities in asset prices compared to their long-term levels. And a continuation of this optimistic stance by Powell on the economy will help markets will lead to the market rather increase their expectation of interest rates in the near future. All right, that's all we got for the day. 10:30 on Saturday, we got Fed's Evans talking about monetary policy. So I mean, these Fed speakers are extending their hours out into the weekend as well, which is interesting to see. All right, we got to talk about two more things. Actually, one more thing. Let's go back to the trade war with China, and this is why it's important. So Donald Trump said he wanted to consider tariffs on 100 billion additional in Chinese goods. All right, Beijing said, this is very important, guys. Pay attention to this because this honestly could be a game changer. Beijing said that it wants to, it would counter the moves to the end at any cost. All right, there was a big question on how far will China go because China ultimately has got the upper hand. If they want to end this thing, they have one move that they can make, but it's kind of a nuclear move, and it'd be brash. And I don't think the time is right yet. But they said we're going to fight this to the end at any cost. The issue here is that China is running out of things to tax or put tariffs on for the United States. The U.S. doesn't actually import a lot of things into China, or the China doesn't import a lot of U.S. goods, but China is a massive exporter. So the United States could continue to levy these tariffs for as long as they want because there's a lot of products to levy tariffs on. But China can't. China's going to run out of that opportunity. At one point, they're going to tax 100% of the goods coming in from the U.S. What next, you might wonder? Well, check this out. They say that some market participants, and there's no like official word from China, are starting to express concern that it may start running down its holdings of U.S. treasuries. If China decides, this is the nuclear option, if China decides to just dump treasuries, the U.S. dollar is going to get absolutely destroyed. China owns the single most amount of treasuries of the United States. Basically, China provided the capital to fund the United States government. That's what it is, by giving them the money for the treasury. So, look, we're not saying they're going to go there, but if they do, it's going to bring out market volatility like you haven't seen. It probably wouldn't even compare to 2009. That's a huge move. It's brash. I don't think they're going to do it, but just keep that in the back of your mind, and that's what market traders are worried about. All right. One last thing I'll tell you. At 8:32 in the morning, China Commerce Ministry spokesperson Jiao Feng said the following: China is ready and will not hesitate to retaliate. Under current conditions, the two sides cannot conduct negotiations. He says U.S. misjudged situation and action is extremely wrong and illegal according to international law. China to take immediate retaliation if U.S. releases $100 billion. Nothing is ruled out. That was the scary part. So we told you what could happen, and then Jiao Feng, the China Commerce Ministry spokesperson, says nothing is ruled out. All right, nothing's ruled out at this point. And he said the current situation is a battle between protectionism and free trade, and China is now urging the European Union to jump on board and fight with China. So this is not good. This is not. I mean, this week, in the middle of the week, we started to get hope that this thing has settled down a little bit. They're going to start to negotiate, and these tariffs are final. They're going to go meet together, talk about it, blah blah. None of that looks like it's happening. It just looks like it's escalating more and more. All right, so this reminds me very much so of what Donald Trump did with Kim Jong-un from North Korea. All right, it's like meet force with force, and at some point, the inevitable is going to happen, right? You get two people kind of ready to fight, and one says, no, you hit me first. No, you hit me first. Depending on who you're going up against, somebody's going to buckle you in the chin one of those days, like doing that, right? So the whole point I'm trying to make here is it looks like they're starting to pick a fight, and you don't know what's going to happen in that situation. Just be cautious. I would advise this weekend, going into the weekend, to maybe lighten some of your trades. If you got some long-term positions, lighten the load a little bit. You never know what could happen over the next 2 days and how the market's going to open, and you're going to be stuck with positions you can't move. All right, so I mean, Don't listen to the guy on YouTube. Do whatever you think is right for your trading. And remember, there's a disclaimer by watching these videos. Everything you do is in your control. It's in your hands. TRADEPRO Academy, Inc. and or its affiliates, partners, and sponsors are not responsible for any liabilities as a result of your trade directions, actions, and or market participation. It's pretty good. I just made that up. You guys take care. Have a good day. I want to wish you all a very happy weekend. To all my Orthodox brothers and sisters out there, happy Easter. We're celebrating this weekend. That's what I got for you. If you have any questions, pop them in the comment box below. Comment, like, share, subscribe. That's some good stuff coming your way. This weekend, we got 2 great videos coming your way, Saturday and Sunday. You're going to love them, I promise you. The first one is my 3 favorite stock screeners and how I use them. And then the next one is some psychological input on how to change your body posture to change your trading results. But it goes a lot deeper than that. So stay tuned. That's this weekend. Take care, guys. Have a great end to your week. Have a great weekend. See you guys on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Thanks a bunch for tuning in this weekend. Just behave. Don't get in too much trouble over the next 2 days without our morning market updates, but not too little either. See you later. Goodbye. All the best. Manage your risk. Trade like a trade pro. Let's get the trading room opened up. Goodbye. That was a verbose morning market update. That's what happens when you have coffee and tea and everything else. All right, YouTube. See you later. Forgot I had you guys on here still.